Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. In a previous video, we unboxed and gave a first initial impressions of this Windsor Design 11-piece wood carving chisel set. This is one of the chisels. This is one of the straight chisels that they gave in it. Today, we are going to modify these chisels like we do with all Harbor Freight stuff and really make it our own unique special tool that we want to reach for every time. Stay tuned. Like I said before, it's a $14 for the whole set price point. So you're just over $1 a chisel, essentially. So you're not gonna get great quality out of the box, right? These has some rough machining marks. There's gonna be some like hot spots on the corners. They're kind of rough, they're hard. We don't need that. We can kind of smooth those over. We can give this a better polish and we can fix this handle. So they do give you hardwood handles like this, and it's not a bad handle size. It fits in the palm of your hand fairly well. You can put a finger out on top of the blade and really get some good fine control in your carving. However, this edge over here is rounded off a little bit, but it is sharp enough and flat enough in the back that if you're carving and you're really digging in and you're doing a lot of carving for an hour, that's gonna make some hot spots. So what we can do today is we're gonna round this back of this handle off to make it a little more comfortable in your hand. We're gonna strip this stupid lacquer finish that they put on all these things, which I understand, but it makes it slippery and that's dangerous to me. So let's strip that off and get some linseed oil on there and get it a little nicer finish that holds better in your hand. We're gonna polish this tool steel. We're gonna file down all these rough milling marks on the side. And then finally, we're gonna put a razor sharp edge on it. We're gonna sharpen it with our diamond plates and get this thing into great serviceable order. Let's get into it. All right, let's get into it right away. We've got the chisel in our vise here, firm and secure. And I'm gonna try my spoke shave first and just come in around these edges and try to round them over a little bit. See if we can do that in a cleaner way. Getting better, but not quite where we want it. Let's get our rasp out. As Paul Sellers would say, it's not a rasp, it's not a saw. It's something in between. So we're gonna start with just the fine side first. I don't wanna be too aggressive on this. So as you're coming up with your rasp or your file or whatever you have, you're just coming down from almost straight on it and you're curving up with each stroke. That's gonna give you your radius that you want. And you're also watching this bottom line to keep it somewhat as even as you can make it. Nice, we're getting much better there. So almost a much better radius on the back. It's gonna fit much nicer in your hand. Finer straight file. And we can really start refining this down, keeping, sorry for your ears. So we'll take some 120, put it on top. Just use the palm of your hand, spin it, and that is feeling amazing. We could even go up to 220 if you want, and you could start kind of working your hand down the handle. Let's protect this bezel a little bit. Take our back to our 120 grit. Sorry for the harmonics, it's wanting to sing. Subsequently, if you don't want to use sandpaper, you can use just a straight edge of a knife or something. If you had like your pocket knife, you could come in here and kind of scrape that lacquer off. If you had a sharp edge, that'll take off a lot of that lacquer quicker. Basically stripping off all that lacquer until you get down to bare wood. If you're going to handle the edge of the chisel, just be cautious. That is a blade. Even though they come out fairly dull, these straight chisels are coming out kind of sharp. So if you want to throw some tape on there, protect the blade or something, protect your hand, or use a glove, whatever. So it looks like we've got a majority of all of our lacquer off. Got a little spot right there by the bezel, not that bad. And we've got a little gouge in here. Let's take care of that. Probably from our rasp. We got a little too aggressive with it, maybe. We don't want to spend too much time because we want to get to carving, right? But we want a good tool that's going to feel comfortable in our hand. And any little gouges like that, ridges, things like that, they can turn into hot spots in a hurry. So feather that out a little bit. That's looking better. All right, so we've got our handle done. Just as comparison, here's the other straight chisel. You can already tell how much more comfortable that's going to be in the palm of your hand just by having that sharper edge off of there and a nice rounded side. That is a great start. Already, just the handle alone in my hand between the two, feeling the difference, you're going to get more grip out of this one. We still have to oil it still. But getting that slippery lacquer, shiny lacquer off there, it already makes the tool look higher quality than this shiny crap, right? So we're off to a good start so far. So next up, what I want to do is start working on the blade itself. All right, I got our sharpening system set up here on the vise. We're gonna start with the 400 grit, and we're gonna come in here and try to flatten out this back. So we're gonna put it flat side down and just start sliding it up and down. And our goal is to get all this machining marks off the back and flatten it. If we want to, like a traditional chisel, we would come in here and flatten that bevel down or flatten that side down a lot with marker, find out where our high spots. For carving chisels, not that important to have a super flat back on things like this, but we're mainly looking to get it flat-ish, and we want to get all those machining marks down to a nice finish. With it being hardened steel, you can do this with a file, but it's going to take you all day. We're already getting, I don't know if you can tell that or not, but we're already getting some flats here and here. We got a little bit of a hollow here, but not bad. It's already just running my finger on that, feeling the difference between this side and that. Feels like night and day, and that's just 400 grit. So spend a few minutes on these. That was, what, 20 seconds of me sharpening on 400 grit. Spend a few minutes, sharpen these things up, and you're going to have a much better tool that you'll enjoy using. If you're new to the channel, this is our sharpening system. I've got a video of how we built this. These are Amazon diamond plates that we bought for, I don't know, $12 or something. I can't remember, but it's definitely cheap. Set of four diamond plates, and then we built this sharpening system out of some MDF and some scrap pine and a piece of leather. We made a good sharpening system to be able to sharpen woodworking tools like this. All right, so we're pretty well machined on that edge. Now I'm going to flip around and I'm going to do both edges here and the top. We'll worry about the bevel last, but this is mainly, these are comfort sharpenings right now. So I'm not looking to go all the way to 1200 grit with the bottom and the sides. I'm mainly getting those machining marks from the mill off. All right, we've got a lot of our machining marks filed down now on the sharpening plates. It's feeling a lot better already in the hand. A lot of that roughness is gone. We still have some sharp edges on the edges here though. So we're just gonna take our chisel and just tilt it up a little bit on these flats and just do a few strokes. So as an alternate, like I said, those sharpening plates were less than $20 on Amazon. But if you don't have those, you're not interested in getting those, you can go on Amazon as well. I'll put a link for these and the plates down in the description below. But you can buy these diamond files. These are like jeweler's files. And they're basically diamond encrusted files. You can use these, put this in your vise, and you can use these to take those machining marks down, get those rough edges off the sides. So if you're gonna use a regular file like this, you're gonna have a hard time with it because a lot of these tools are hardened steel. And these files, while they can do it, you gotta work, you're gonna put more time into it than you want to. And it's not gonna give you the best outcome. Something like these little diamond files are made to use on hardened steel, and they're gonna sharpen up nice. Don't use a bench grinder or anything like that. That's gonna it's gonna heat up the steel too much. You're gonna lose your temper on it, which is already not great to begin with on these tools. So you want to just take a little diamond file like this. You can work all those sides down and make it a lot more comfortable. You can get those machining marks off, and it will give you a very good, decent quality finish on it. So just little stuff like this. All right, we got our handle done. We got all the machining marks off. Let's take this over to the buffing wheel now and shine it up. Look at that, right? We've just gone from a cheap $14 Harbor Freight chisel to something pretty special. This is looking good. It feels amazing in my hand now. It's super comfortable. I can work with this thing for hours and hours and hours and not have any fatigue in my hands. Let's get a sharp, razor sharp, shaving sharp edge on this with our diamond sharpening system. We're back to our sharpening stones. If you're using the flat chisel, right, to sharpen, these sharpening stones will be great. Other things like the V-groove, yes, you can use them on this. You could sharpen that, but the gouges, you can use a flat stone gouge to sharpen your blade, but they do sell specified stones to be able to help sharpen those things that have grooves and things cut into them. If you're good at it and you want to learn that skill, you can learn how to like rotate as you're sharpening to get those gouges and things that have radiuses on them a little bit better. But for today, we're doing this flat edge. So I just put my handle right in the wing. Okay. So put your blade down, pull up until you feel the flat spot. They do make guides and things with bearings on for things like this, but for our case, we can just put it up flat and back and forth. You can do circles. You can do figure eights. It's all your preference. I sometimes do circles. Sometimes I'll go back and forth. It's all up to you how you want to do that hand coordination. Nice. All right, so if you sharpen that and you run your finger across the back, you'll feel a burr back here, right? That's where you've sharpened all this metal off and you're starting to kind of roll it over the edge. You can take that on that 400 grit and just pull back a little bit, and that'll pop that burr off, right? And you're going to do that on each subsequent grit going up. So we start on 400. Now we're going to move to 600. 400 is going to take the most time. These other ones you're going to need just a few seconds on, maybe 20 seconds each plate. You'll start seeing that black on the plate. That's the metal coming off the chisel. You're making essentially a slurry there. You can again do circles if you want. And that should be all you need for 600 grit. and you'll feel that burr coming back again. Flip it over on the back and just pop it off. Moving up to 1,000 grit. All right, we're up to 1,200 grit. We're feeling very sharp. And now finally, we've got our strop over here. So this is just a piece of leather on a board that has some polishing compound on it. Just gonna take it, bevel down, and do about 50 strops on this. This is gonna really refine that edge. It's gonna bring our cutting edge to a nice polish, a nice high quality shine. And it's gonna really, really make that edge just razor sharp. You've seen movies where people are taking their knives and they're running on a piece of leather belt, you know, old cowboys and stuff, and they're sharpening it. This is what they're doing. They're honing that, refining that edge and making it shaving sharp, essentially. That is razor, razor sharp. Let's see, can you do it? Yep. We are shaving sharp. That's kind of gross, but we are razor, razor sharp now. So the last thing to do, let's get some oil on this handle to protect it a little bit better. So I've got our chisel in the vise. I got it in a rag just to protect our edge. And now I'm just gonna grab a shop towel, a piece of blue paper towel, and I've got some boiled linseed oil. Put a little bit of linseed oil in this paper towel, and then just going to work it on the handle. Really get it in that end grain and work it in real well. You can use your hand, you can use paper towel. Linseed oil is not going to hurt you. If you do use paper towel or a rag, make sure you lay this thing out flat on your garage floor or whatever until it thoroughly dries, because this stuff on a rag, if you ball it up and throw it in your garbage can, it can spontaneously combust. And there have had people's workshops burn to the ground, so just be careful. All right, we've done it. Look at the difference between the two. Here's our original chisel, flat edge on the back, uncomfortable to fit in your hand, machining marks. So if you can see the machining marks all over it, just super rough and dull. We've taken that now, we've rounded the top off, made it much more comfortable in the palm of your hand. We've polished this to a high shine, very soft rounded edges, very comfortable to fit in your hand. You can now do complex, tight, long carving sessions that aren't going to hurt your hand. They're not going to give you any hot spots. And just an all-out good-looking chisel with a razor sharp edge that will carve anything. Give our example back of when we opened these up. This was the piece we could barely carve anything out of, and now look at that, just effortless curls. I'm barely pressing, and we're providing nice, sharp, clean, shallow cuts with just curled up wood like that. That's amazing. To be getting off a less or just over $1, less than $1.50 for this chisel from Harbor Freight. And now we can do real nice complex woodwork carving with that. So that is how we take $1 and some change. I can't do the math off the top of my head right now, and I should have done it off camera. Chisel, wood carving chisel from Harbor Freight. Bought the whole 11-piece set for $14. Check out the other video where we unbox it. And we took this cheap, ragged, rough-looking chisel, and we turned it into a really high-quality woodworking tool that's going to feel real comfortable. You'll be able to carve it with this thing for hours and hours. You're not going to have any hot spots in your hands where it's just irritating you. And we've got a nice razor-sharp finish on the blade now that's going to be a lot safer. You're not going to be slipping off the wood and jabbing into your hand. Still use safety precautions because it is razor-sharp, right? But that's how long it took. Less than 3 minutes to get this edge from Harbor Freight to razor sharp. So there are going to be a bunch of you out there that are like, "But Matt, the steel is cheap and you're going to have to sharpen it a lot." I know you're gonna have to sharpen it a lot. We use our Harbor Freight chisels all the time for woodworking. I've got good quality Irwin's things and Stanley Sweethearts. I never use them. I always go for my Harbor Freight ones. You can bring them back to a razor sharp finish in less than a minute on these plates, burn through them, and you're good to go. Yes, you're gonna have to sharpen more often, but that's what we wanna do with beginner woodworkers. We don't wanna immediately go out and buy a $1,000 set of chisels that we still have to sharpen, but now we don't know how to sharpen because we haven't had any practice, right? We haven't worked our way up to being able to sharpen by hand like we just did perfectly every time. Start on cheap chisels like this, cheap woodworking tools. Start with the cheap stuff. Once you get into it and you're like, yep, I really like this hobby, I want to get into it more, then maybe invest in better tools that will go longer between sharpenings. But I don't view sharpening often as a problem. So anyway, that's it for today. If you like this type of content, let me know down below in the comments. Subscribe, click the notification bell next to the subscribe so you get notified of the next video I put out. I put out all different types of content. Check out my other links down below. I'm on Rumble. I'm on Patreon right now looking for supporters for that. We're going to build an adventure van and there's going to be a ton of woodworking stuff in that. So if you're not so much into adventure vans, but you're into the woodworking thing aspect of it, there's going to be a ton of content for you because we're building out like an entire little house inside this van is the plan. And if you don't like woodworking so much and you're more of the adventure camping, we're going to be building an adventure van to go have explore and have adventures with and go off-road and do all kinds of stuff and be able to live out of this van. So it's a wide variety. Check out Patreon, $3 a month, great deal. All the other things, give me a thumbs up, comment, and I'll see you on the next one.